Can you remember way back to when there was this new thing called Facebook? Or does that mean you are showing your age? The media struggle to understand social media in much the same way as they are now trying to make sense of cryptocurrencies, with fear, suspicion, and lack of understanding. Anyone with even the most passing interest in the internet knows the name of Mark Zuckerberg, who at the age of 23 put together two primitive websites for fellow students at Harvard University. One of them was called Course Match, designed to let students check who else was taking their degree course. The other was Face Match, a sort of online beauty pageant to assess how good-looking people were. By 2004, these had turned into the Facebook, which gained some 1,200 subscribers on the first day. The rest, you might say, is history, with the numbers rising globally and exponentially, so that now nearly 2.5 billion people, or roughly 1/3 of the world's population, are regular users. An implication of this is that if you don't have a Facebook presence, then you don't exist, which is not a good place to be if you are planning to bring your initial coin offering to market. And yet, this kind of social media presence is counterintuitively not actually a great help for an ICO. Yes, you have to be out there on social media, but as I always advise my clients, we are not looking to attract the crowd. 2 billion plus people is certainly a big crowd, and Facebook is the mother of all when it comes to coverage and heft. An ICO, on the other hand, should always be niche. You need to define your own exact niche, but as I explain in my new book 6 Proven Ways to Attract ICO Investors, it is also vital to define the niche of your target audience. Surprisingly, this is not always what you might think. For example, a startup company wants to raise funds for a radical new concept in skateboards. Who's going to be interested? Well, the skaters, of course. It stands to reason, and yes, it's true that skaters will likely be extremely interested in the product, and it won't do any harm to communicate with them as a subset of your target audience. That's probably where Facebook and other social media platforms will be of use. But are skateboarders investors? Maybe, maybe not. There could be a niche within a niche of financial investors who also love balancing on a smash plywood board, and if so, then go after them with all your skill and energy. If not, then work harder to define the real target audience and the best means to reach them. Which brings me back to musing about social media and Facebook in particular. In my conversations with clients lately, I've heard younger team members say things like, Facebook is old-fashioned. They are also of the opinion that email is only for old people. Now I see that this anecdotal evidence is being backed by recent figures from the UK predicting a loss of 700,000 Facebookers in the 12 to 24 age group during this year. Of the USA's 169 million regular Facebook users, 3 million under 25s will also quit the social media network site this year. Okay, so that won't impact too much on the 2 billion plus users, or will it? Start extrapolating that across the world, and you can see that there may be the beginnings of a trend here, which we as ICO marketers better start paying attention to. That's my message, that we should never presume that the platforms and channels we rely on to communicate with our target audience are set in stone. The platforms change, and more importantly, the audience changes too. Is it conceivable that there will come a time when people look at Facebook and see outdated and retro? You bet! So stay ahead of the game and always keep scanning for changes in the web space. It's not just about how great your product or service is, it's about who is listening and on what channels.